The Search for Parabiblical Wisdom. I'm Jeffrey Darty, your friendly neighborhood Christian whistleblower, and I'm here to bring you the gospel truth. And we're here to bring you the gospel truth about the search for parabiblical wisdom. Tonight, the wisdom of H.P. Blavatsky. And you don't have to believe everything that H.P. Blavatsky believes. You don't have to believe everything that H.P. Blavatsky taught. You don't have to believe everything that H.P. Blavatsky stood for. You can learn to eat the meat and spit out the bones, and you can gain some tremendous insight from the writings of H.P. Blavatsky. You can gain some tremendous insight into things that you may not think about. You can gain some tremendous insight into things that you may not have known about, and you can gain some tremendous insight into things that you might not otherwise think. I had a lot of pleasure being on Rex Bear's show today. I got a lot of, I do still have beach hair. I got a lot of pleasure from Rex today, from being on Rex's show, to be specific. And Blavatsky did get a little bit of a bad rap, but that's okay. We're here to give a girl a second chance. That's what we're all about. And Miss Blavatsky, Madam Blavatsky, had a lot of great teaching. She had a lot of interesting teaching. She had a lot of stuff that was maybe not so super bueno, but the woman had a lot going on, and we can get a lot of information from her. I actually do still have bleach hair. I was out there today and went swimming, rinsed off, but it's been a whirlwind of a day and a great whirlwind. So we were on Rex today. Check that out. And it was good. Rex, I know some of you have said some things a little critical of Rex. Rex is fearmonger. Rex is clickbait. Rex is trying to get his numbers up. Well, Rex's show is event driven, and Irma is a big event. But give Rex credit where credit is due, because he did bring me on to bring the other side of it, to bring balance. So I don't have any issue with someone who will bring balance and will bring both sides. So I was happy to be on the Leak Project today, and I'm happy to be home with you again this evening. And we're going to talk about parabiblical wisdom. And it's interesting, there's some great tie-ins. Somebody just sent me an email, and I would say their name, but I don't know if they want their name said. And it says that Irma, which means exalted, IRMA, is being turned by Christ, ARMI. You see what she did with that? Oh, I gave away that. You see what she did with that? She took Irma, IRMA, turned it around into ARMI, which is Army, by Christ's Army. So Irma is being turned by Christ's Army. And I know that we did it just before we came on, but let's do it again. And what I want to do is, I've changed it a little bit. I'm saying that I'm speaking now to the storm Irma, and I'm leveraging the power of the divine and sacred feminine, the divine and sacred masculine, and working in combination with nature and with the full power of the divinity. We ask and encourage that storm to move towards the north and east, out into the open waters. And we ask and believe and move and work with the sacred feminine and the sacred divine, applying all that power even now. Move north, move east, go over the deep waters. I think that I was being a little too emphatic and was encouraging a little bit too much emphatic activity in regard to the storm. And remember, it is still an act of nature, and Mother Nature is still in charge, the divine Gaia. So we'll work in conjunction with her. And I think we're able to leverage even more power that way. So that's the little change that I have been felt like in my feeler that needed to be done. So let's go ahead and look at what Madame Blavatsky had to say. And this book it's a great work. And this particular book is called Isis Unveiled. And this was way before there was any Isis. It's talking about the goddess, and how interesting that we're talking about on a night and at a time where I just said, let's employ the goddess and the sacred masculine, and the fact that we just had the Christ, completed Christ, the female Christ, Sophia, coming out of her correction to join the male Christ, which had already been manifested. And I like how Kayla said, Mother Earth, Gaia, Sophia, divine feminine and divine masculine. Yes, we're calling on that and working with that and moving it on. And Tamu and Gina says, I love your ability to self-correct and publicly admit it, Jeffrey. You rock. Thank you, sir. And my good friend, Scotty Roberts. Here's to you, Scotty, with the Star Trek mug. Thank you very, very much for that kind remark. And thanks for being here, Scotty. And we do believe we're going to move that storm. And we do believe it's not going to hit Florida. The secret doctrine is good. And I'm also into theosophy, says Lee. Well, this is theosophy for you right here, my brother. And what's good is that Blavatsky goes through some terms here at the beginning of the book. And too often, we will read past a term, not knowing what it means, and we'll just go on. And I've warned you before and tried to help you, because if you read past a term that you don't understand, your ability to comprehend anything after that word that you went past is reduced by up to 60%. If you see a word that you don't understand and you just blow past it, it reduces your ability to comprehend anything past that word by up to 60%. Here's to you, lads. And yes, and this is in honor of my good friend Scotty Roberts, is it risky to get on this channel when we're experiencing a tremendous growth spurt and say, let's move this hurricane, let's have a group consciousness exercise and move this hurricane? Although George Norrie is doing it tomorrow night on Coast to Coast AM, and I'm convinced George listens to me. I'm convinced George listens to us. He said more than once that I'm one of his favorite guests. And more than once, things that I've talked about have ended up in a roundabout sort of way on Coast to Coast. I'm not saying that George Norrie gets all his ideas from me, but I'm saying George does listen. That's my belief. And every now and then, when we hit on something good, he brings it out on Coast to Coast. So we started this a couple days ago, this group consciousness to move the storm. And George is going to do it tomorrow night on Coast to Coast. And let's be frank, folks. We might have 125,000 people if everybody got together at once to move this storm. George is going to have people numbering in the millions. So he'll be able to do much more than we do, but it's a combined group effort. So don't despise the day of small beginnings. Far be it for me to wax biblical, but here we are. We're doing what we do. And even if just doing it on our own on a small level was able to help influence in some way George Norrie to do it on Coast to Coast AM, that's what I call success, because we're in the storm moving business. And cousin, business is a booming. So is it risky to get on here? Yes, it is risky. Is it risky to say, let's move a storm? What if it doesn't move and you look bad? What if it hits and you look bad? Is it risky? Yes, it is risky. But Scotty Roberts, this is for you. Gentlemen, risk is our business. Risk, gentlemen, is our business. Captain Kirk, the original series, and it's true. Risk is our business. Risk is our business. And there's nothing extraordinary in your comfort zone. So let's get out of our comfort zone. Let's risk, and we are going to continue to work with the sacred feminine, work with the sacred masculine, and moving out into risk, moving this storm. That's what we're going to do. I didn't get into it with Harvey. I'm sorry. And Scotty Roberts says, damn Skippy. Thank you, Scotty Roberts. Okay. So we go past terms that we don't understand. And Blavatsky does us, risk it for the biscuit. That's right, man. Go for it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky. And Blavatsky lays out for us some terms right here at the beginning of the book. And I think that it's going to be very instructive for us to look at these terms and to understand these terms and to talk about these terms and to discuss these terms so we can learn what they are, understand what they are. And I just made it bigger for you and I kind of lost my place. And this way we don't have to go past terms that we don't understand, and we can better understand what we're talking about. This will help us all in the long run. So the first term is alchemist. Now, you've all heard the term alchemist. You've all heard the term alchemy, but how many of you could really explain what an alchemist is? How many of you could really describe to me the process of alchemy? And we might just say, oh, turning iron into gold. Well, that was part of it, but that's just the little idly biddly, teeniest little tiniest part. So let's look at what alchemy really is and what an alchemist really is, so we get a better understanding of it and we're able to move on. Alchemist comes from the word al and the word chemi, or fire, or the god and the patriarch Kam, also the name. Did he say Khan? No, he said Kam, K-A-H-M. The name of Egypt, the Rosicrucians of the Middle Ages were all alchemists. And what does an alchemist really do? An alchemist doesn't necessarily turn iron into gold. The alchemist turns something base into something. Tamu and Gina is already getting it. Turn something base into something divine. The alchemists were all about finding the hidden spirit in every inorganic matter. Someone said to me the other day, Scotty Roberts says I'm well versed in Trek as illustrative points. Thank you. Thank you very much. Someone said to me the other day, they were talking to me, mentioning to me about finding the divine in the mundane. And I wrote that down somewhere and I never worked it into a show until now. And when you think about it, alchemy is finding the divine in the mundane. It's finding the gold in the iron. It's finding the hidden spirit, the hidden divinity in every inorganic matter. Kayla Devine says it's transmuting the false into truth. Very, very good, Kayla. And I'm convinced, with all apologies to Rex Baer, that this is the best chat room on YouTube. Rex might have the second best. But alchemists were involved in finding the hidden spirit in every inorganic matter. Did you hear that? In every inorganic matter. There's something divine in everything that to us looks mundane. There's something powerful into everything that to us looks ordinary. The alchemists were people that found hidden spirit in every inorganic matter. And some people accused the alchemists of charlatanry and false pretending when they should have been accusing the evangelicals of charlatanry and false pretending, the eschatologists of charlatanry and false pretending. And it really is a tar and feather job, because the alchemists, there might have been some doing the iron to gold thing, but most of them were looking for the divine in the mundane. And there were, of course, some imposters amongst them, as Blavatsky says here very clearly. But even scientists today are doing what we might call alchemy. They're looking at things that we never would have imagined and coming up with things that we can't even really comprehend. And Abdera, who was an alchemist, said that the mind was capable of penetrating so far into the secret operations of nature in one direction, one must have good reasons to study and become a hermetic philosopher. It's power, folks. It's incredible power, because alchemy, defining the divine and the mundane, penetrates so far into the secret understandings of nature. And that's why it's so amazing, and it really should be held as a sacred trust and a sacred search, because we're really uncovering the secret of all secrets. We're uncovering the divinity in all things. We're uncovering things that allow us to conceive of the ability to move a storm through the application of group thought and intention, knowing that thoughts are things. We go back to Star Trek again. We could, if we were on the Enterprise, we could deploy a tractor beam and disrupt Hurricane Irma. I think the hurricane is not exactly metallic or corporeal. Maybe it would be more fitting to put a neutrino blast into the hurricane to dissipate it, or perhaps even a photon torpedo or a phaser blast could disrupt the circulation, but it could be done. And really, we're on the bridge of our own Enterprise, and we can deploy our own targeted weaponry, which is our combined intention, our combined projected energetic essence. Thoughts are things. Thoughts are things, gentlemen. And we are projecting those thoughts. We are projecting those things. We are projecting that energy. And that storm is inching to the east and to the north. And I'm still full of faith, not because Darty said it, but because the Christ did speak to a storm and say, "Peace, be still." And the Christ did say, "The things that I do, you will do, and even greater things will you do." Jeff, it's the biggest storm ever in the Atlantic. You're stupid. Jeff, it's the eyes the size of Chicago. You're stupid. Doesn't that fit under the term of greater things? And again, risk is our business. Nothing great happens within your comfort zone. We've got to get outside of our comfort zone. I've devolved our chat room into a discussion of Star Trek. It's my fault. But we are involved in some spiritual alchemy. Right here today at 11 after every hour, we're involved in alchemy. We're involved in something that is very Trekkian. And just like Captain Kirk and the crew were always saving the day in the very nick of time, won't it be something if we're able to help save the day in the nick of time? And once again, we've saved the universe as we know it. And the best part is they're not going to press charges. Won't that be something? Won't that be something? Won't that be powerful? So that's what an alchemist is. See, you know much more now. So next time you're reading and you're studying and you see alchemy, you'll say, that's not just turning iron into gold. Alchemy means I'm finding the divine in everything mundane. I'm finding the true spirituality and the true energetic nature of everything. This will have you hugging trees and listening to trees. This will have you wondering if grass is speaking to you. This will have you holding a stone and saying, "What do you have for me?" This will have you looking at animals when they look at you and seeing if there's a message. This will have you watching the flight of the birds and asking, is there something for me to discern? This will have you listening to the wind. This will have you standing in rain, feeling it come down and trying to discern if there's some type of a modality or a frequency or a vibration that's being communicated. This will turn you into a weirdo, man. This will turn you into a person that's tuned in and turned on. This will turn you into a true alchemist. And I got to share this. I got this hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid. I got this palm tree out front when I first moved in. It was really sad looking. And Tamu and Gina had said something to me about talking to this tree and being nice to this tree. I've been talking to it. I've been hugging it. I've been like patting it, conversing with it. And I swear to you, that tree is getting a lot healthier. So there's that. And no, Scotty, no need to apologize. It's great to have you here. So that's what an alchemist is. You could say that Scotty Roberts is an alchemist. You could say that Tamu and Gina is an alchemist. Scotty, you would agree that our friend John Ward is an alchemist. And even though he wouldn't admit it or even maybe know it, Rocky Stucci is an alchemist, finding the divine in the mundane. So that's an alchemist. Sassy Susie is an alchemist. Jen Fisher is an alchemist. Michelle V is an alchemist. The moonlight, feeling the damp blades of grass between your feet. John truly is an alchemist. John is the one that got me involved in these divining rods. And this is the new and improved second generation Jeffrey Daugherty NCK original divining rods. Maybe we'll hear from those a little bit later. And if you ordered rods, I sent out 18 orders day before yesterday. I've got another 18 orders that have to be fulfilled. So we're going to be slaving through the hurricane. Neither rain, nor sleet, nor snow, nor hurricane, nor dark of night will stop the production of the NCK original divining rods. Okay, now astral light. What is astral light? How many could define what astral light is, and how many of us are likely to come across? I saw your name, Travis. Yes. The astral light was once called the sidereal light by Paracelsus and other Hermetic philosophers. Physically, the astral light is the ether of modern science. Tesla talked a lot about the ether. That was kind of the old word before we started talking about the energy, the power, the essence, the ether. It's that indefinable something. Maybe Scotty Roberts can give us a definition of ether. It's that indefinable something that moves and flows. It's what transmutes and transmits our energy. Michelle just howled at the moon, and the kids outside howled back. Perfect. Astral light and auras, getting into debates about that. Those are the kind of debates you want to get into, Lee. So physically, the astral light is some sort of an essence. It's some sort of a substance. It's what Tesla called the ether. He would have argued that it was electric. I have a hard time arguing against that. To us, it's that energetic essence that transmits and transmutes. Metaphysically, ether is a great deal more than is imagined. In occult physics and alchemy, it's demonstrated to enclose within its shoreless waves not only promise and potency, but also the realization of potency of every quality of spirit. That's a mouthful right there. So not only is it this faceless, incorporeal essence in which we move and live and have our being, but yet it's also a very definable, very usable, that's the key, a very usable medium through which to transmit the potency of our quality and the potency of our spirit. It could well be said that as we speak to the storm as the Christ did, that we are speaking and activating the ether. We are activating the astral light. We are activating the sidereal light. We are actually charging a measurable substance. So this isn't all woo-woo, unicorns and rainbows, kind of stuff. It's the actual charging of a energetic essence that was defined by the greatest mind, at least of the past few centuries, that being Nikola Tesla. And through our intention, through the projection of our intention, which can be measured photographically. Some of you can see it right now coming off of my hands. It can be measured, it can be seen, it can be discerned. And it's that power that we're projecting like a tractor beam, like a tachyon wave. It is something that we are activating. So it's not just our thoughts, and it's not just, as I said, rainbows and unicorns. It's the actual activation and charging of a definable substance and directing that substance towards that storm to encourage it through the work of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine to change its course. So it really is like a tractor beam, or is it more like speaking to another species and saying, hey, this is what you're doing. Let's work together and move off. Is it a communication? Or is it a energetic move? I don't care how we define it. It's working, and it will continue to work. And think of what a party it's going to be when that thing turns east and north before latitude 80 and does not strike Florida with its full force or anyone else. That's going to be a party. That's just my game. I like glitter. Barbara DeLong is in the house. Etheric energy is the vehicle that the spirit rides through time and space. Lifetime to lifetime, realm to realm, dimension to dimension. I have the distinct honor and privilege of being on Barbara's great radio program through Freedom Slips in October, and her great program on the Blog Talk Radio Network coming up a week from tomorrow. Barbara, if you would, please, if you are able, type in the places where folks can find both your Blog Talk channel, your Blog Talk radio program, and your Freedom Slips program, which I understand has like 1 million viewers, 1 million listeners. That's amazing. And you're going to hear a lot more about Barbara DeLong and her late husband, who I think we would have got along. That's a warning. But thank you for being here, Barbara. I appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to being on both of your programs. And please do put in the chat room here where people can find your great programming. And what was I talking about? I was talking about that this is a real thing that we are charging. So those of you that are saying, those crows on a line that were afraid to fly and soar like an eagle, it's a real thing, and we're activating a real thing. And God bless George Norrie. I still think he heard it by listening to us, but God bless him. You know, sometimes the Pentecost, it's 20 years. I don't want to say blessed, because we know blessed means smear with sacrificial blood, usually human. But I'm so happy George Norrie is doing that consciousness exercise tomorrow night, and it's going to help. And let's give George Norrie and the Coast to Coast audience all the credit. We don't care who gets the credit. We just want to see that thing move. Jen Fisher talks to crows. Deb, you can put in the contact information as well into the chat. Okay, so that's what the astral light is. alchemist and hermeticist. A hermeticist basically is, oops, I didn't turn on the share. A hermeticist is basically a person that we would call a magician, but a person that works in the realms of directing intention through the ether. And the alchemist and the hermeticist believe that their astral or sidereal ether, that it actually does have a physical and a spiritual manifestation, and that it is this ether that allows them to do things like levitation of human and inert objects. And it's through the application, the projection of this ether. And I ask you folks, if the ether can levitate a human, and I have watched with my own two little blue eyes, I used to call him a witch doctor, but now I'm a little bit more refined, and I would say that I watched a indigenous shaman down in Central America float 2, 4, 6 feet high in the air, levitate. And we were in the middle of the jungle, cousin. No, it wasn't the rainforest. It was the jungle. And we saw him rise to 6 feet high through the power of the ether. So whatever it was that rose that shaman 6 feet in the air and kept him there for close to a minute, that same force projected towards Irma in conjunction with the female Christ, the male Christ. Now we're getting some people worried. The completed Christ from that last eclipse, now available, the totality of that to us, the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine, all of that, it might even be more powerful than a tachyon blast from the sensor array of the Starship Enterprise. Plus, it has the added benefit of being able to work in conjunction with Gaia, with Mother Nature. 11 minutes after every hour, we are applying that ether, the grand magisterium phenomenon. How do you like that? The grand magisterium phenomenon. And the designation astral, we tend to think of that as something that we thought up. We tend to think of that as something that Doreen Virtue thought up. Doreen, lack of virtue. Oh my, Doreen, lack of virtue, selling out so she can sell some more cards. And she's welcome to come on the show and defend herself if she'd like to. I'd be more than happy to give her a platform to debate and discuss with me, just like I'd be more than happy to give Scotty Clark, I almost said Scotty Robertson, he's welcome back too, or L.A. Marzulli. So the term astral is ancient. And it was used by Travis Cup. You can make the trees move. Well, get busy, cousin, on this hurricane. What are you waiting? Yeah, Doreen, the Roman Catholic. That's the one I'm talking about. Dave Bills, I like you. The designation astral was used by some of the Neoplatonists. And let's stop there. Do you know what a Neoplatonist is? That's someone that was there in the new time of Plato. So we're talking about smart people. You know, Plato was with Socrates from Bill and Ted, a.k.a. Socrates. So the Neoplatonists even use the word astral. So it's not a new word. It's not a new concept. So New Agers, don't dislocate your elbows trying to pat yourself on the back. Astral is an ancient word. Porphyry described it as the celestial body, which is always joined with the soul, immortal, luminous, and star-like. The root of the word astral might be found in the Scythic aster, which means star, or the Assyrian Istar, which according to this fellow Burnouf has the same sense. And as the Rosicrucians regarded the real as the direct opposite of the apparent, and taught that what seems light to matter is to darkness spirit, that's deep. They search for the latter, the spirit, they search for the latter in the astral ocean of the invisible fire which encompasses the world. See, now we would call that the astral realm. But really, when we think about it in real terms, we've got this concept that the astral realm, like we're here, and the astral realm's up here. And I had that concept for a long, long time. And it does sort of help us to organize our thoughts and helps us to kind of understand where we're at. But the reality of it is, and this slammed into me again, when I got in my car and drove to Nashville to see the total solar eclipse. And think of that. What kind of a person gets into a car and drives a total of 24 hours to partake of a 3-minute event? You got to be a little touched. But that was the most dramatic 3-minute event maybe of my lifetime. The only thing I can compare it to is the first time that I went to Isla Guadalupe out in the Pacific Ocean, and I, in my wetsuit and my scuba gear, jumped into a shark cage just as a 17-foot great white shark swam past me. Or a couple days later, where I was outside that shark cage, this close to a 17-foot great white shark, close enough to know that in that big black eye that you think a great white shark has, in the midst of that great big black eye, there's an eyeball as blue as that one right there. In the midst of that, how many people on this earth know that? How many people on this earth have seen that? Cousin, that's some serious coolness right there. But looking up at that total solar eclipse, whoo, right in the same ballpark. And why did I even say that? I said that because it's only when you get a sense of the promise and the potency, it's only when you get a sense of the occult and the alchemistic, it's only when you get a sense of what there is and what is possible that you really can begin to think about transcending this meat suit, that you can think about transcending and moving hurricanes, and you can think about becoming greater than you are, and you can think about people in, thank you for the support, when you can think about people in terms of what we have in common instead of what makes us different. The promise and the potency of every quality of life is the recognition of this astral, is the recognition of this star stuff, this star seed, this star light that is within us, this invisible fire which encompasses the whole world. And that was my point. We've started thinking about, and I didn't show you that anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. We've stopped thinking about, if we're as we improve, we stopped thinking about we're here and the astral's here. And the reason I got to this is because when I was driving my car to Nashville, I'm driving along, and I don't usually listen to the radio, but I don't usually drive 12 hours in the middle of the night. So I was tuning in radio stations, and you drive along and you have a radio station, and I hit the seek button, and there's another radio station, another radio station, another radio, another. But I'm only able to listen to one at one time. Why? Because I'm only tuned into one at one time. So it's probably not, here's our world, here's the astral realm. It's like this, and we're just tuning into frequencies that we're tuned into. So what I'm saying is, what Blavatsky says here is completely accurate when we're talking about the invisible fire which encompasses the whole world, the equally invisible divine spirit, the very throne of the invisible and unknown illimitable ones. We are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. One of the Bible writers, who I don't like, said, and he probably stole those words, But we are surrounded by a great cloud of witness. We are surrounded by this ether, by this astral light. And I believe that it's all right here, and it's just a matter of tuning into frequencies. And we've talked about this before, and it may be that all time is here as well. Can you access yourself in other times? Can you access yourself as a fulfilled Elohim to manifest that power in your life, even here and even now? Paraclesis talked about the astral. As fire passes through an iron stove, so do the stars pass through man with all their properties and go unto him as the rain unto the earth. So we are in the midst of, we are surrounded by incredible power. And even the Hindus have a word for it, akasa. And it's a word that is next in the explanation. Let me check the chat room just a minute, because we are 41 minutes into this. I want to see if there's any. Oh, is this Scotty Roberts? Yes, Scotty Roberts. This is one of the great quotes of all times, folks. And I remember when Scotty first said it, I thought how profound that was. And, you know, it's after 11 o'clock. It's almost midnight, so we can say this. And this is very profound. This is the mind of Scotty Roberts. This is why I love this brother. He says, the more shit I know, the more I know I don't know shit. And the more shit I want to know, if I might add that on Scotty. So we are surrounded by this great and powerful substance. We are surrounded by access to so many things that we don't understand that we have access to. And by employing what? By employing alchemy, we can connect ourselves. We can tune in to these various frequencies that are available to us once we realize, and once we become hungry, and once we become seekers. I'd love to talk about the Akasha, the Akashic records, but perhaps this is a great place for us to stop and pick up the next time with our search for parabiblical wisdom, looking at the teachings of H.P. Blavatsky. And I remember Doreen, the Roman Catholic, so I'll start there. I'm convinced 100% that Doreen Virtue is either Jesuit or she's working a Jesuit psyop, continuing a Jesuit psyop, just like L.A. Marzulli. Scott Clark, I think he's being taken for a ride and he's enjoying the trip. I don't see him as an agent. But I do believe Marzulli, L-A-Z-Y Marzulli, and Doreen, lack of virtue, are working knowingly to foster their agent provocateurs of a Jesuit agenda. The New Age is as old as time. Thank you, Barbara. I agree with you. It is possible to divert the storm. So get diverting, Travis. You're moving stuff. Let's move it. And we had a talk. I had a talk with Barbara earlier today, and we talked about the term Antichrist. And you know, the evangelicals and the eschatologists have given us this idea of what Antichrist is. You know, pin the tail on the Antichrist. It's this guy in the end of the age, at the end of time, that is going to. And I'm sharing, and I thought I was talking to you. Sorry about that. This guy in the end of the age and the end of time, that's going to pop up and be this end time boogeyman. But what the Antichrist really is, biblically speaking, and Barbara reminded me of this today, Antichrist just means someone that is against the Christ. And that's why I say Paul was the first Antichrist, as Thomas Jefferson said. He was the first one. He was the Coryphaeus, the leader of the chorus that started, the very first one to do violence to the teachings of the Christ. And folks, this is an historic moment. Lee Veltman in the chat room has said that this is enlightening. And if we can bring Lee Veltman to the place to say that this is enlightenment, Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we have reached a certain plateau that few have ever reached. And just so you know, Recovering Soul is double jointed and is able to pat himself on the back and probably do other things that we don't want to hear anything about. Please do hit the like button. And I am referring to the book Isis Unveiled. I don't want to divert the storm, but subdue her to a light drizzle. I'm okay with that. Lee Veltman drove to Oregon from someplace I'm assuming is far away from Oregon. Deb Schiller's driven 12 hours to see the sunrise over the mountains. I thought she said this is her first time having sex, but she said this is the first time here. Rex recommended. Whew, thank you, Shay Smith, for being here and for checking out our channel. I'm not as crazy as you, Jeff, for the shark deal. Oh, that was so amazing. Shay, you will like it here. Please do come back. And Shay, if you have a question for the divining rods, as a first-time visitor, we're going to give you the opportunity to ask the divining rods any yes or no question that you really want an answer to, and we will let them rip just for you as our guest. We do have the Spark of Divinity, all of us. It just depends upon how you use it. Recovering Soul might pull an all-nighter. I'm with you there, bro. Or sis, I know I should know which you are, but I don't. I got an early AM. Can't keep the eyes open. Chris Monet, adios. That's why I have satellite radio. People are manifesting that aren't even aware they're doing it. That's why porn is so dangerous. Good point. It's off topic, but that's okay. Can somebody verify my craziness? Verified. I was subbed to Wayne, but wasn't. Had to fix that. Make sure you are still subbed here. Scotty Roberts with his famous quote. The moon is traveling. Yeah, okay. Well, that's off. We don't want to get into that right now. All right. I believe Recovering Soul is a girl. Moses in Exodus asked God, who shall say that I am? God answers, tell them I am sent you. The medicine wheel is interesting. Many prophecies. Whoops. Still trying to learn how to use this Mac. I see Antichrist as a description of consciousness lacking Christ conscious nature. Okay, I can go with that. It's not the scriptural definition, and you know how I try to stick to the text, but we'll work with that. Positive energy is great, but it was the negative vibe of your idiots, the Lord is the devil energy that made me look. I'll always love you for speaking the Bible Hub gospel truth. You know that's not going to stop. That is not going to stop. I'd love you to explain the whole new age. Well, Anna, unfortunately, the new age is becoming a new cage. It's probably not worth spending a lot of mental energy on. Just learn and focus on coming out of believing what someone else tells you and start believing what you yourself have come to the conclusion regarding. Because I learned a long time ago, and this is true, a woman convinced against her will is of the same opinion still. And it doesn't matter if I'm able to use my abilities of persuasion. I am inky they speak of in the literal translation. Thank you, Scotty Roberts, for that nugget. And I completely, if I'm able to convince you with my linguistic legerdemain, if I'm able to convince you with my NLP techniques and with my well-honed oratorical and rhetorical abilities, that's not good enough. It's not real, it's not true, it's not genuine until the light bulb goes off in your mind and you say, I got it. I understand now, and I'm making a volitional effort in my own mind to do it. I am equates to inky in the Mesopotamian wordplay. That is powerful, Scotty. Thank you for that. Lee Veltman says the Book of Enoch is so divisive. Lee Veltman, I am on record saying that the Book of Enoch is a forgery. That's what I believe. Moses is sometimes called the horn giant. There's statues of Moses with horns. Thank you for the crazy verification, Jeff. Crazy is what I do. No need to thank me. The description of Moses as horned giant is pre-Renaissance. I would hope so. And Scotty Roberts knows a thing or two about the Renaissance. He was in Renaissance festivals for years. There's a man that knows how to rock a pair of velvet tights. Let me tell you. And with the Scotty Roberts and velvet tights reference, I think we have officially Michelangelo carved him with horns due to political issues with the Jews. Josh Conaway, Jeffrey, how are we doing this fine evening? Hope you're not being affected by the storm. Brother, we're affecting the storm. And over the knee, black leather boots. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, your friendly neighborhood Christian whistleblower. We have been talking about the gospel truth regarding the search for parabiblical information. And tonight focusing on the works of H.P. Blavatsky, defining terms. And do you see the power in understanding and defining terms? Thoughts are things, words mean things. And now understanding just what alchemy is. We're all alchemists. We're in the alchemist business. We're in the alchemy business, cousin. And business is a booming. Scotty Roberts says, Jeff always leaves me thinking, and that's okay as long as Jeff always leaves me. That's what Scotty really meant to say. Oh, I think DSW brought you up and said the Christian adventure. It's a Christian whistleblower. Who is DSW? Who's DSW? I want to stay and see who DSW is. Oh, Rods. Who was it that was the first person? Does the first person here have a question? Or a new person? Who's DSW? I always feel peace in place and on track with all of you guys on this channel. Jeff, thanks, and all of you guys. I don't know if Barbara's still here, but if she had a question for the Rods, we'll give her first dibs. If Scotty Roberts, well, Scotty knows all about the Rods. Oh, Dark Sky Watcher. Oh, very nice. Dark Sky Watcher recommended me. Well, very nice. I appreciate that. He brought me up. I have subscribed to that channel. C.W. Ledbetter. I should do a show on his work. So, the Rods, some of you love them, some of you hate them. But these are the second generation NCK original divining rods, handcrafted by yours truly, right here from my sweatshop in Clearwater, Florida. And I shouldn't say where I'm from, but I just did. Discount Shoe World. Now it's confirmed you are a girl. Okay, so who has a question for the Rods? Thank you, Jen. Tamu and Gina loves the Rods. Tamu and Gina is up past the pumpkin hour. I'm impressed. No questions for the Rods? Okay, we'll put them away. But these are the brand new ones. I really am in Clearwater, Lee. Are you in Clearwater? Here you go. Is Lee Veltman in Clearwater? No way. Are you really in Clearwater? Is Jeff Daugherty in Clearwater? Yes. These are brand new. Whoops. Rainbow White, what is your question? Scotty Roberts does have a pair of rods crafted by John Ward in Luxor, Egypt. Well, la-ti-da. I crafted these my damn self. I'm in Okie land. I just know of the Mecca. What's the question? Should I get a divorce? Boy, do you really want to ask divining rods that question? I don't know if they'll even answer that. Should Rainbow White get a divorce? Yeah, I didn't think they would answer that. They are not going to answer that. Another question for the Rods. Hold on, Lee. You're near me then. Show me yes, please. Show me no, please. I have a real question. Okay. Show me yes, please. Show me no, please. Does North Korea really have an H-bomb? No. Does North Korea really have an H-bomb? No. Will recovering soul leave court tomorrow with a check? Yes. Will recovering soul leave court tomorrow with a check? Yes. Will Hurricane Irma hit Clearwater? No. Will Hurricane Irma hit Clearwater? No. Does Robert Stanley really believe he met Inky? He really believes it. You know, Tom Cruise, I saw Tom Cruise here on the street the other day, Lee, about a month ago, and he was very, very nice to me. But his condo is not ready, by the way. Is Little Kim a patsy? They're not going there. They're not going there. Ask the rods if what I saw in the sky was there or not. Are you serious, David? Because you brought that LOL after it. Is what Dave Coy saw in the sky tonight real? They say yes. Divine Owl asks, rods? Should Divine Owl get some rods? Yes. Is paradise in the hollow earth? Yes. Is the earth hollow? Yes. Is the earth flat? No. I didn't see Robert on the Leak Project the other day. I listened to a little bit of it. The name is Irma, I-R-M-A. That's a woman, kind of an old. Thank you, Funky Blue. It's kind of an old name. Jeffrey, I have a question, says Tamu Ingina. Divine Harmony, should I change my nickname? Should Divine Harmony change her nickname? They don't care either way. Was the blue orb that Tamu saw today a living entity? Yes. Was the blue orb Tamu saw today a living entity? Yes. I made these a little heavier because I don't want them to give false positives. So they're really going to be testing out the ether and the astral substance. They're not going to give you a quick, did Divine Owl really see a UFO last year? They say no. Is there a Mars base, by the way? It's a trick question. Is there a Mars base? No, but there's something going on. Is the Earth surrounded by Antarctica's ice wall? It's already saying no. Is the Earth surrounded by Antarctica's ice wall? Not only no, but hell no. Did this person speak to gray aliens telepathically? Yes. Is the Earth something other than flat? Stop it. Is the Earth something other than flat or round? Yes. Scotty Roberts. Is the entity that attached to Scotty really Cinnamut himself? Is the entity that attached to Scotty in Egypt really Cinnamut himself? Absolutely, Scotty. You knew that before you asked. How many confirmations do you need? What was the orb that Joe got a picture of at the Whaley House in San Diego real? Oh, it says yes. I'm not a big orb guy, but no, Josh, I am not a flat earther. As many as I can get, says Scotty Roberts. Absolutely. All right, we've been here an hour, folks. I saw an orb in real time floating in the room with me, not a photo of an orb. And it said that it was a life sentient entity, Tamu and Gina. So there you go. NCK original handcrafted solid copper infused with my own personal essence. That's either good or bad. Not really sure. But yeah. And what I do, just to tell you what I do with these things, I take them and I shape them. Tamu told me that she's a copper worker. I take a little mallet and I pound them out to get them nice and flat. And then I take them and I'll turn them 70 times each direction. Make sure they're flowing really good. And if you do order more than one set, they do come in pairs, so keep them together. And I just say, show me yes, please. And I say, show me no, please. And then we balance them out together. Show me yes, please. Show me no, please. And so you get a set that's thoroughly tested, thoroughly tuned, and somebody said full of evil spirits. I don't think so, but you know, there you go. All right. No, and I don't make smaller size rods. Why would you want me to? So they're more portable? I guess I could. But at any rate, folks, there you go. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. This has been the gospel truth about the parabiblical, our search for parabiblical wisdom from, in this case, H.P. Blavatsky. This chat is really, really interesting. Good night, Scotty Roberts. Thanks for being here, brother. Love you. We'll see you soon. What powers the rods? Divine Al, have you not been listening? They're powered by the ether. They're powered by the astral energy. They're powered by picking up on the vibrations and the ether of the answer that you are requesting from them. Josh, we'll see you, brother. Thanks for being here. They look too big. It's always a good thing to hear that your rods look too big. Sorry, had to go there. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. I salute all of you that are here searching for truth. Thanks for being here. Please subscribe on the way out. Please like on the way out. Please share on the way out. I'll probably be back later with some more content tonight. And remember, folks, if you don't remember anything else from your visit here, you're not filled with original sin. You've got the spark of divinity within. That's why the Christ said, love yourself. Love the divinity in you. Love the divinity in others. Love your neighbor as yourself. And then the entire world will know that you are the disciples of the Christ because you are excellent to each other. It's in the Bible, I promise you. It's in the text. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. We'll be back with some more gospel truth real soon. Oh, and by the way, if you want personal work with me, I do it on a donation basis. Contact me in the box below.